What's up, I'm Leo Freak Daddy Brown, the host of the Screw the Pooch podcast and also the host of the Classic Rock 92.1 morning show in Lexington, Kentucky. And look how lo-fi this is. I'm in my car. This is my studio. I'm scraping by. I'm trying to get out of a pooch groove that I've got going on right now. And if you enjoy what's going on here, I need your support. Really do. You won't miss your $5 a month. You can find that in your couch cushions, but it means the world to me. So support me over on Patreon. As I like to say, there are two types of people in the world. There are those who have screwed the pooch, those who will, and then a strange third kind that's willing to share. That's what this is about. Hopefully it's inspirational. Enjoy the podcast. Click the link below. Check out the Patreon page. I really appreciate the support. Thank you so much. What they're doing is just trying to look cool.
Yeah, there you go. All right.
I got all the gear. You know what else, Bland Matthews? I got a great set of golf clubs. You know what I'm saying? Got a great set of golf clubs.
That's a great metaphor.
All righty. Bland Matthews is with me. Berserker Brew is the coffee you got going on. What's up, dude?
What's up, Leo? It's all good today.
How long you been doing the coffee company now?
Yeah, we just turned 6 years old here in Louisville, Kentucky. 6 years.
That's awesome.
Yeah, COVID didn't kill us. We got a very unusual business plan, but we're growing.
Yeah. Well, and the thing that you've got, and just a little bit about this coffee, it's kind of geared toward extreme athletes. You have a very big following in the world of like mutter events and things of that nature, right?
Yeah. So I my tagline it's engineered for athletes. I created this coffee to be drunk black. And people have changed their lives because they've gotten used to coffee so bitter that they turn it into a milkshake. Well,
right.
My goal was to get people to drink black coffee. Black coffee is fantastic for you if you drink it black. It gets a little more dangerous when you start adding fats and sugars and flavors and chemicals. And my coffee's organic. I don't care if my carrots are organic because I eat carrots once every 8 weeks. I drink coffee every day. And non-organic coffee is the most fungicided, pesticided, herbicided, and fertilized thing on the planet. And there are no measures of what the beans are what residuals is sitting on them when they get roasted. So it's important if you pick one thing to be organic, do coffee. And then, I started this coffee business. If you'd asked me 8 years ago if I'd ever owned a coffee business, I'd say no. Why would I do that? But sometimes you make mistakes that create great opportunities.
So you think your pooch screwing created your coffee company?
Oh, well, I mean, you and I go way back, and you know that I have screwed more pooches. I mean,
we both have, man. We both.
Yeah.
Have.
I mean, and the worst part about my situation, Leo, is I didn't really step up and own my screw ups for decades. Decades. I just I maintained success at a minimum level because I've got some talent and I'm a hard worker. And, my parents gave me two great gifts, creativity and a work ethic. So, I screwed up for more than 30 years. But, my biggest screw the pooch, created a coffee company that I've got customers in 47 states now.
Yeah, and, right.
People, stop me in Kroger and say, "What's up, coffee guy?" I mean, it's become who I am because I screwed up.
Yeah. Well, how exactly did you screw up? Are you willing to share that?
Well, yeah. I mean, one of the things that I think your audience needs to know is I didn't take ownership of anything as a kid. And because
I took ownership. I took ownership of the shit you did as a kid.
That's right. You were my favorite scapegoat. If I could blame it on you, I really did.
Yeah, and you did.
Yeah, but I really just went down a wrong path when I started drinking. And I started drinking November of 1986. I remember my first drink, and I hated it, but instantly wanted another one.
Wow.
And I don't think I put, I didn't realize how many lives I torched, how many great ideas I just kind of let mold and rot until about 7 years ago. So about 7 years ago, I'm on top of the world. I've got a real powerful, job. I'm in a management position of a Fortune 500 company. I've traveled the world. I met my beautiful wife. We've got two great kids. Here's the deal, though. I still wasn't really recognizing that I was screwing up because I was drunk most of the time.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Been there. I understand that well. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. So most of the time you drink for 32 years, you assume you're bulletproof. You've gotten away with it for 30 decades, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
not the article in Fortune magazine. My employer did a big ad campaign. My face was in every operations, center worldwide about, the interviews, the cool things that I did. And I got by on pure talent, pure imagination, and really just kind of didn't see the opportunity that I was really screwing up. So one day, all of the bad decisions, right? When you're in management, you have to make decisions. When you make decisions that are bad, the little ones, it's not like I was unsafe or, it's not like, I did something that was harmful. I just didn't care anymore.
Right.
Well,
Yeah.
that's a bad position for a person who runs the lives of 800 people.
Yeah.
So my employer just, came in and said, well, we don't want you to work here anymore. At age 50, right? Or 49, at age 49.
Right. I mean, yeah. At a
Yeah.
point at which you're probably not the most employable cat on the street at that point.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So, I didn't cry. I didn't wail. I mean, it was kind of the most, they had two big security dudes in there, because I'm a big dude. It's just kind of one of those standard procedures. When you fire somebody, you don't know what they're going to do.
Yeah. Been there.
Yeah. So, I get fired. And I'm walking out with these guys on both sides. I go clean out my desk, and all the supervisors that work for me are just staring at me, and you got to get deal with that, that embarrassment. And I'm just walking out, and I looked at them and I'm like, today kind of sucks. And the way that I reacted to it was, well, I almost knew it was coming, right? I mean,
you kind of,
if I had any intelligence, I knew that there'd be a reckoning eventually.
Yeah.
And here it was. So I go home. My wife is like, what did you forget? And I'm like, oh, I didn't forget anything. I just got fired. Right? She thought I'd left my briefcase at home or something, my backpack or whatever.
I forgot to keep my job today. I forgot to stay employed.
That's right. I forgot to stay employed. So what do you do? And I went immediately because I'm a worker. I've worked every day since I was 16. That's the baseline of why, we didn't lose anything, right? Because I'm always going to generate something. So I started working for a competitor and realized I'm too old to start over. Holy shit. Right? You're at the top of the totem pole, going back to the bottom. Yeah. Wow. That is tough to take.
With them treating you like you don't even have that experience, because you're literally coming into an entry-level position. You may as well have just come straight out of school into that job. They don't care about your past 30 years. Your 30 years is probably a detriment to them because you did it wrong for 30 years.
Yeah. So
I've been there too, man. Yeah.
So I start this idea that I'm not going to work for anybody else. Right. So I'm going to start, because what's my skill set? What can I do? Well, I can sell. I can sell about anything. If I dissect what I did for my employer for all those years, my best years was making big deals. I mean, I'm talking big deals and big success and the good stuff that I'm like, well, I'll just do that for myself. And I really was kind of literally standing in my living room, kind of talking it through with my wife. And she, at this point, because I'm still drinking,
Mhm.
she's looking at me like, yeah, I'm about to go out the door on you.
Mhm.
And I'm
Mhm.
like, well, here's the deal. I'm going to start a coffee business. And I sat down and I wrote a business plan because one of the things I did for 20 plus years with my employers, I wrote plans. I know how to do action plans, business plans. I write
Mhm.
plans. So I wrote
Mhm.
a plan. I drew a drawing of this guy right here, right, of the Zerker dude, with crudely,
Yep.
because I'm not artistic or musical or anything. I tried, but I'm not you. So I drew it, and then I went to a graphic artist. I said, "Here's the concept. I want to label
Mhm.
this with anything," and then I started researching beans because I don't have any background in coffee, right? I just love coffee.
Yeah.
So I wrote what the coffee needed to be, and I Venn diagrammed what that looks like. So that narrowed my search for the beans down. Now is a
Mhm.
question of just proof of concept, and this thing's starting to chug, right? We're starting to get production. we're starting to really kind of get a website going, and then all of a sudden, you know, and this is the kind of defining. I knew that this screw the pooch was going to be the rest of my successful life. Amazon calls. Amazon airline is starting. They're starting their own airline. I was in the airline business. They
Mhm.
needed someone to run operations of their airline in California.
Oh wow.
17 interviews, including 7 interviews in Seattle. I was offered a job.
Oh good
Ah,
lord.
right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. What timing?
What timing, right?
Yeah.
Do I give up the coffee business and move to California? That and really that was going to have some personal impact as well, right?
How could it not? Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, and I turned them down. They couldn't believe it.
Mm.
They couldn't
I bet.
believe
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
They couldn't believe that I didn't want to work for Amazon because everybody wanted to work for Amazon,
Sure. Especially in
right?
that position, but it took that many interviews. I'm sure it was quite the fine job. I'm sure it was a fine job.
Well, I mean, it's the regional air manager for California, Southern California. So basically, every night you were in charge of running the operations. Okay,
Yeah.
that's great. I turned
Were
it
they
down.
willing to pay you enough to live in California though?
Not at all. Not at all. Right?
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
at all. So, long story short, I know we're running short on time. I fully committed to 2 things. One, I needed to fix me.
Mm.
This giant battle, this denial that I had a problem drinking, I needed to face.
Mm.
My wife didn't like me anymore. My kids were old enough to know that there was something wrong with dad.
Mm.
And I just looked at my results in the coffee business, and they weren't the results were not matching what I was expecting, right?
Sure. Yeah.
So did 28 days of rehab. Really, I really got my life saved by a couple of young ladies that could have been my kids, right? They're
Mm.
young counselors working in this rehab center, and they called me on my bullshit. They called me on all the stuff that I told myself since I was 18, a
Yeah.
freshman in college, and drinking every day.
Hmm.
And I didn't drink anymore. And then all of a sudden, and you can look at it's almost like an EKG. If you look at the
Yeah.
sales, the gross sales of
Yeah.
Berserker Brew coffee after August of 2018, uh, it's like I got hit by electricity. The line started to move.
Hmm.
But everything started to work because here's the deal: when you drink every day, you think you've got it. You think you're in shape. You think you've got energy.
Oh yeah.
No, you're in a constant crisis.
Yeah.
Did that
Yeah.
for decades.
Yeah.
So this giant screw the pooch of not understanding that I was an alcoholic, call it a
Mm.
disease, call it what you want. I don't think it makes me a bad person. Plenty of great people are alcoholics. I'm a better person now that I understand my limitations because it helped me get my health back. Right at
Hmm.
56, I mean I'm 56 next month. I'm stronger, faster, better than I was 30 years ago.
Ridiculously great shape for your age.
Right.
For any
So
age, actually.
you can't. They should do a government study. You can't do that if you drink a bottle of vodka every day. I mean, I don't know. There should be some correlation between being a drunk and being able to be in shape. I don't think they go together. So once I got my physical health going, lo and behold, the whole secret of it was self-esteem. Right? I realized, Leo, that this facade that I put on my life for decades, I didn't need it anymore. I no longer cared if anybody knew I was a drunk, because I finally accepted, well, that's what I am. And now people buy my coffee. I mean, I've talked about this story. My next alliteration of success is going to kind of tell my story in a venue that really impacts more and more people, because if I can do it, a dumbass like me can go from getting fired in that terrible period of time when you're in your late 40s, early 50s. Who's going to hire you?
Yeah.
Who's going to hire you? Right?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, we live in an age where there are no more pensions, right? There's, I mean, you almost, if you look at what I was doing when I got fired, you're like, well, that guy's done. And it was very tough. And I know you want to wrap up, but it was very tough.
I just knew I had to keep. I knew you get a lot to talk about. I was like, let's try to get it in about 15 minutes.
Yeah.
We may have to do this again to get to more stuff, but the real what I'm hearing in all of this, and I think that this is what this is all about, is the pooch screw can sometimes be a door into where you're supposed to be if you allow that complete screw up to actually realign everything in a way that, like, okay, now where are the real opportunities? And man, when you're faced with an Amazon job or a startup on a company that is always a challenge, always a question, you don't know, at that point you didn't know if you were going to be 6 years in. You had no idea. You had a passion, and then I'm assuming you had potential security with something with Amazon. But you got to go where you got to go, because that door opened because of what had happened to you, right? But almost in a correlation, everything hits the fan, bam, you get this inspiration, and now look at you. I think, isn't that the nutshell?
Yeah, I would posit that not only in my case does it work, that whatever pooch gets screwed, if you look at it for it was, and you take the measure of it, of your own responsibility, everything can end up being more positive than it is. I mean, I mean, owning a business, you wouldn't believe how many times I screwed the pooch, weekly, monthly,
mini pooch screws, little tiny pooch.
But as long as you accept them and go, okay, what was that? Let's figure out what that was, and you get better. Holy cow!
All those. It's like working out, man. You know that. You get a little workout pain. You're stretching yourself. You're pushing yourself, and you figure out, okay, well, now I know what I can do, and I know what I get the results from.
Yeah, I mean, there's a Jordan Peterson. I listen to a lot of Jordan Peterson, and he has a metaphor that's very poignant to me. It's basically like good stuff is behind the dragon, right? The concept of why do dragons sit on a hoard of gold or protect the beautiful woman? Because that's the good stuff, and it takes hard to get through to get there. Right? You don't just get the money. You don't get the hot chick. You have to kill the damn dragon.
Yeah.
And when I'm sitting there driving the car, listening to him tell me this, I'm like, God, if I had just understood that in about 1992.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you wouldn't be who you are now, right? I mean, that's the thing I understand is, you kind of got to get kicked in the face a few times to build the character it takes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's okay. Screw the pooch, get kicked in the face, get it all figured out, get it on track, and realize, I think you and I at this point in our careers, experiences, we can take hits very differently than we used to. When you say?
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely. I mean,
Hits
I'm
hits
much
that used
more,
to be. Go ahead.
I'm much more resilient.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was going to say. Yeah, hits that used to be devastating, potentially even take us off the course. We're like, yeah, okay, just bring that on.
Yeah,
That's
just
how
bring
I
it up
am.
because
We'll deal with it.
you deal with it. I mean, one of
Yeah,
the things with me was always, well, will everybody like me? I had this thing that I wanted to be liked. So
yeah.
be careful with that, everybody. That never works. God
Never.
Almighty, that never
Who
works.
cares?
That's a giant pooch that you're just gonna screw.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I mean, I don't care anymore. I'm busy, right? I,
You
I
got
mean,
coffee to sell.
I am more locked in now because I had that hardship, that kick in the face, that pooch that basically I wasn't expecting. But when
Yeah,
I got it, there was no avoiding it, right?
yeah.
It was not like I was going to use my masterful, linguistic talents to talk my way out of that. They had the guards in the room. I mean, this is that Joe Pesci scene out of Goodfellas. The plastic's on the floor.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're getting axed.
Yeah.
Hey, Bland, it's very inspirational, man. Thank you so much for sharing. And that's what this is about. Everybody's got to screw the pooch.
Yep.
Yeah, we got to screw the pooch to figure it out.
Embrace it. Yep.
Embrace your pooch screwing. That sounds like a great
There's a
message. It's a
T-shirt
great.
in here somewhere. We need to start selling T-shirts. I like this. Where we're going here.
Awesome, man.